Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a look at Planebreaker Bastion Aftermath, one of the new chronicles coming in 2.5. Now, it literally only came up on the PTS last night, so it is coated with what I assume to be bugs and other stuff that may be wrong or not quite clear with it, and it's not tuned properly by the looks of it. But anyways, we're going to have a bit of a look, get a bit of a feel for the chronicle, and see what it's like. So we're gonna go straight on to the first boss, who is called Usupa Isai. I generally have no idea how to say that name, so that's how it's gonna go. So one of the main things in the fight is, for some reason, he throws down this hot ground and it stays down the entire fight. And if you don't keep moving, then you take damage from it unless you're in one of these protected zones. So I assume this is maybe a bug of some sort, but something I found out rather quickly. And also he casts this other ability, which is kind of like a cone channel, where you actually need to be in these zones to avoid taking any damage from it. So as you can see there. But one of the things I didn't really understand is he says Usupa Isai redirects his enemy's motion, and I don't really know what this mechanic does. Sometimes it tosses me into the middle like it's doing now, and sometimes it doesn't do anything. I'm kind of presuming it's something you have to range, but not entirely sure of that. And also on this one, when I'm avoiding Grip Blast, you'll notice the AoE safety net goes away, but regardless of which, still managed to do the boss. So definitely needs a bit of a tune-up, possibly on health. Anyway, moving on to the next boss, who is called Charade X9. Now, this is a similar model used in the Golem Foundry by the looks of it, but I still really like the model and looks pretty badass. He appears to have two interrupt abilities that you have to use. One is a standard slug and one is a heavy slug. Now, essentially, if you have two people, which is what this chronicle is made for, then you can rotate and interrupt. But if you only have one, then you're going to go for the standard one. And you'll notice he also just kind of randomly reset there. I put it down to me being too much at range from the boss, and I just sort of hug melee for the rest of the fight. Now, another thing you'll notice that there are a lot of wisps sort of floating around the outside of the platform, which he uses to activate something called Laser Net, which I think is a really cool mechanic. And then you have to gradually move around or hit the lasers and take about 5k damage, which, is a fair amount to take from a laser. I'm not arguing that, good laser damage. So, there's one last mechanic on this, which I generally have no idea what it does. He's going to do it in a second. It's the big red pulsing AoE. I've totally forgotten what it's called. It's going to prompt me in a second when it comes up on the screen. And it's just like this one. I tried to line of sight it, and it didn't work, and I just took extra damage from the laser. So I have no idea what you're supposed to do there. There doesn't appear to be any safety zone or anything. So I think that's a line of sight mechanic, but I can't be entirely sure. But apart from that, it's a fairly nice boss. Not too much to do or worry about. Moving around, line of sight presumptually, and interrupting. So it's a good noob check. Good place to start. The next boss is called Tesni the Ravenous, and is some sort of bug-type creature. Previously seen the model in sort of the foul cascades and all that. And I actually really like this fight. I believe it could use with a bit of a tune-up. But basically, what I figured out you have to do is he's going to cast something called Acid Splash, and you need to destroy one of the hives, which gives you a buff, which makes you immune to the Acid Splash. And every time you destroy a hive, then he gets a slight bit stronger. So, you can't just destroy the hives. Well, they act as sort of an enraged timer, because when you run out of the free hives, then you can't avoid the Acid Splash and presumptuously die. I'm hoping it's that way, because that's pretty cool that they added a sort of enraged time on a Chronicle boss. And also, he's doing more damage, flinging bolts about. He appeared to just, after I killed the first hive, just stand there and fling bolts instead of chasing me, and do his Acid Splash and whatnot. So there also appear to be bugs that come out of the hives, but I didn't really see, there was only that one at the start, not too much of that, but I think this boss could definitely use a bit of a tune-up in health. I know I'm in sort of raid gear doing this on my cleric, but with two people, and the fact I only used two hives and done it pretty easily, A bit more health would be pretty cool. So, moving on to the last boss, which is Mistress in Your Qatar. Now, the kind of story of this chronicle is that we're using this room in the back of, well, it's just to the left of the Planebreaker Bastion raid, which can summon creatures from the plane, and we just wanted to make sure, you know, we disabled this so the architects can't use it for evil. But in doing so, we somehow accidentally brought back in Your Qatar in Mistress form. Now, this is by far my favourite fight of the Chronicle. It has tons of really cool mechanics. Now, sort of the first mechanic you'll see, which I actually didn't realise what this mechanic did, is somebody will get something called Planet Overload on them, and after 20 seconds they'll explode, and I believe they should kill everyone. I didn't actually try this out, but I'll try it out when I'm actually making the proper guide for this and, you know, figuring out exactly what to do. But when you actually have this buff, and what I didn't realise till I actually watched the video back, was when you have this Planet Overload buff, you actually deal double damage. So ideally, you want to cleanse it as late as possible, and you can cleanse it by going in these little circles. And another thing I didn't realise is when you go in those little circles, you also get a heavy damage reduction on yourself. And that's why earlier all my abilities and spells were dealing so little damage, and I didn't realise that for a while, so that was pretty stupid of me. So yeah, don't stand in the yellow circles unless you have to. Apart from that, it's pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to dodge, like you've got this inner and then outer ring. And then you've got these sort of swipes that they have on the first boss in Imperium Core, which I do enjoy. You know, they got she does this quite a few times. I feel like, you know, they went, okay guys, too many people are dying in Imperium Core, we got to train them up for this, where can we add it in a Chronicle? They'll go, yeah, we got Planebreaker coming next month, we'll make the last boss just swipe left, right, center, done, sorted. And then you have this final ability, which I didn't really explain, which is kind of, she, you know, powers up and these 3 blobs come towards her, and she gets a damage increase for every blob that gets near her, and, you know, she absorbs them and whatnot. So you ideally have to kill all the blobs, which I didn't actually realise and nuked the shield for ages before doing that. So, rookie mistake on my behalf, but you live and you learn, eh? So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Chronicle, guys. It's looking good, I'm sure, in the upcoming weeks with testing and also hard mode implementation. It's going to get a lot better, so stay tuned. Hopefully, when the hard modes come up, we'll be covering those in a bit more detail as well and see what's happening with those. But this was just a first look video to get a general feel for the instance. Anyways, thank you once again for watching, and if you actually want to become at least 5 times more attractive to the opposite sex, I suggest you hit that subscribe button. Take care.